How's it going, everybody? Feel free to connect with us on Snapchat. Today we have a very interesting video, a lot of really developing news in coordination with relevance to Cardano and of course Mike Novogratz. And seeing the way that Bitcoin has been acting lately is ultimately a renewal of confidence for me. I pay a lot of attention to this space, and ultimately I think that it's interesting to see a lot of the people who are new to cryptocurrency, who haven't exactly been paying attention to these things in a couple of years, really witness firsthand how quickly things can turn around, and you could ultimately see the media cycle and the way that people talk about cryptocurrencies shift on a dime. I mean, this is one of the most interesting things about crypto, because one day you see how all these various different news people are going to be saying how crypto is coming to an end, but then the next day, well, we have a day in the green, and all of a sudden all these new crypto basically fake news, essentially, they're coming out and talking about how cryptocurrency is the next big thing. So it really does expose how the media is really just going to follow the trends of the way things are acting, and ultimately this is one of the fundamental reasons why we always stress doing your own research and being educated in regards to this space and coming to your own conclusions and determinations rather than just following the herd. But all that being said, let's get right into it. So I was watching this video of Novogratz talking about cryptocurrency and regulations. It's a pretty interesting video. I'll include a link to it in the description, but it had me thinking about how the market is currently at 299 billion, and really we're looking forward to seeing some interesting times ahead. Just hit 300 billion in the time of making this video, and it's interesting to see how Bitcoin and the overall perception of these technologies is ultimately molded and crafted in the image of the way that these huge media personalities tend to perceive these things. I mean, certainly if Mike Novogratz went up on stage and started saying that Bitcoin was going to zero, we would certainly see it reflected in the price right here. So certainly seeing these 8,000, these 20,000, it's an optimistic perspective, so to say the least. But of course, looking at technologies like Cardano, the way that I'm starting to think about it is, how can we expect Cardano to be living up to the reputation of these various different technologies that have already established themselves so strongly in the public consciousness, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and ultimately I think that Cardano, when you look at the roadmap for what's ahead, the Cardano roadmap really does speak for itself. And looking at these global coin report fake news type stuff, here are 3 reasons to go hard on Cardano before institutional. I mean, obviously there's always a little bit of truth. I mean, I'm being tongue-in-cheek by calling them fake news because obviously I share to a certain degree the opinion. I mean, I think before institutional investors get an idea, but obviously institutional investors already have Cardano on their radar. To think that they don't would just be ignorant. But of course, it really is interesting. I mean, don't overlook the possibility of Cardano on Coinbase. I know a lot of people get frustrated with these sort of rumors, but it is there. Ethereum World News right in front of you. So it is interesting to see the possibilities that are in store for Cardano. However, much related to it, Bitcoin is back, people. At least temporarily, we are seeing Bitcoin and its hype and the overall conversation that's happening revolving around cryptocurrencies looking very similar to the way that it was looking in, say, 2017 when we were seeing Bitcoin at 20K. And which brings me to this Mike Novogratz, man, Bitcoin smashes 8K. Mike Novogratz says next step 10K, then straight to 20K. So the optimism is certainly in the air. I'm feeling it. I'm trying to stay sane, of course, because I'm still sort of maintaining a realistic approach where I think we might not necessarily be out of the woods yet when it comes to that correction that we were seeing, but of course this is a very optimistic look what we're seeing happening involving cryptocurrency space right now. Certainly feeling pretty excited about what we could be expecting, and of course with this sort of predictions being put out there, it's certainly going to help the overall reputation, of course, Bitcoin in particular. But this video is about Cardano. This video is is going to center around how Cardano is essentially really a sleeping giant when you take into consideration the current climate of cryptocurrency. We're right about to hit 300 billion, which is going to be a very, very substantial number. It's essentially, we're already there, and it's going to be very exciting to see how these different variables are coming together in such a short amount of time. And of course, Cardano, with their approach with smart contracts and so forth, really a lot of exciting things happening, in particular with this sort of rally happening and this reputation of technologies coming back into the front and center. I mean, those of us who've been paying attention to cryptocurrencies for any amount of years, we've obviously seen lots of different things happening similar to this, where large sections of the community, basically, they go ghost because of the various different things that we see happening involving the red. And of course, we'll definitely have days in the red in the future as well. I mean, there's going to be disappointing days, and then there's going to be days when people are riding high and sailing the sun. So ultimately, definitely looking forward to seeing how a lot of these different variables have come together in such a short amount of time. And ultimately, it definitely does take into account the fact that, I mean, Bitcoin was essentially the introduction of digital gold, the overall, the start of the paradigm shift that we're really witnessing coming to the forefront now with this sort of new age of cryptocurrencies, which we would title the smart contracts age of crypto, where now we have essentially Ethereum with its smart contracts is really rising up in a big way as well. I mean, certainly Bitcoin's still strong, asserting itself in that dominant position, but I really just wanted to bring up the fact that Cardano, essentially what they're positioning themselves to accomplish, is very much something that's making me pay a lot more attention to a lot of the various different intricacies of this space that maybe a lot of people who might be newer to the space tend to ignore. However, these are the things that I find the most interesting. From a data analytical perspective, Cardano is certainly one of those technologies that's moving forward in a big way, that's going to have a really substantial impact on the way that things are moving forward. And with these sort of various different things happening with these developments right alongside the developments that are happening with Cardano and what we can expect happening with the later part of 2018 and moving on into 2019, of course, very excited about what we're going to be seeing as far as how Cardano is going to be flexing its muscles. Now, of course, definitely make sure you guys are following Cardano on their Twitter, and you guys can also follow me. That's at CryptoTuber. I'll actually be including a link to my Twitter in the description, so if you guys are interested in connecting with us, you can do so over there. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is not financial advice. This video is for entertainment, educational purposes. Of course, standard disclaimer there. I'm not your dad. But all that being said, I mean, I am excited to be seeing how this space has been maturing and developing, over this last few step by step. We've been seeing the paradigm really shifting in a big way. And I'm honestly, when I think about the various different losses that I took personally over the past few months, I mean, it's really nothing between friends, because I'm very much expecting to see a lot of potential in store for Bitcoin, and really looking forward to seeing how these sort of Mike Novogratz and similar people to him who have been really promoting cryptocurrencies and tirelessly, and these John McCafe sort of people who are ultimately the visionaries that are helping the public consciousness develop and evolve in a way that's really going to lead us towards the next step, which is going to be adoption on a wider scale and global integration of and connectedness, really leveraging the power of the internet. I don't think anybody out there who's worth their salt in the cryptocurrency space is going to have really very much criticism for the future that's in store for smart contracts. And the fact that Cardano has really been positioning themselves in this way over the next few years, I really think that we could definitely be seeing these various different things that they've been really working so hard for really coming to the front and center.
everything I'm pursuing. All the shit I could be